Surgeon-guided, technology-driven, robotic arm-assisted surgical technology for hip and knee replacements. Available at Kansas Spine and Specialty Hospital, proud sponsor of KPTS, Public Television for Kansas.
The following program is brought to you by TZ Productions, offering 40 years of media experience.
These stories are like old friends. Their lives radiate from the screen like prophets of the past. They were teachers, but not in a classroom. Instead, they taught about life to those around them who cared to listen, and I was their student. There's nothing like traveling for understanding the world and its people. Hi, everybody, and thanks for joining us. I've been very fortunate, incredibly fortunate in my life, to visit places, many places that most people can only dream about.
And this week, Larry is going to share some of his overseas adventures with us. First up, the story of some former Kansans who picked up and moved to Israel.
Did they ever? And here we get a glimpse of life in Israel that seldom makes the news.
There's more of an emphasis on family togetherness here.
Naomi Leitner is a former Wichita attorney who now lives in Israel with her family.
Israel is a terrific place to raise children here. Family is very important here.
Mark Abels is an oil geologist originally from Wichita who is living and working in Tel Aviv.
But I feel very much that Israel is my home. Now I've been here about 3.5 years, and I feel completely comfortable here.
Mark lives in a high-rise apartment near the Mediterranean.
It's a cool day. It's real comfortable to just sit here and relax. Anybody home?
Mark's work in the oil business puts him in touch with the movers and shakers in Israel.
This is an office that has invested $20 million in oil exploration in Israel, and they've had some encouraging things and are still in the process. So I'd say in '97, you're going to see another couple $100 million revenue from that project alone. This is a picture of my mother.
Mark has fond memories of Wichita. The portrait of his mother still hangs in his Tel Aviv apartment, and he keeps in contact by computer, phone, and fax. As he travels around the country, it is family that he sees as this country's glue.
Family is the most important thing in this country, believe me. Even the soldiers are home every Friday night for dinner with their family. That's the most special part about Israel, when you see that.
Sit down, sweetie pie.
Across town, former Wichita Naomi Leitner has an afternoon with her kids.
I have the same, same chaos at home that anyone with small kids would have. No, you're going around the other way? Okay.
Naomi moved to Israel because it's where her husband is from.
One real difference for us is living as Jews, where we're a Jewish majority. And that gives us a sense of wholeness and normalcy that we can't get, certainly in a place like Kansas, where you're part of a very tiny minority. And here, of course, my kids celebrate the same holidays as the kids in their class and learn about them in school, and there's a sense that life is made of a whole cloth.
Because she feels safer in Tel Aviv than Wichita, Naomi allows her children to do more things outside and to go more places unescorted.
And this one will be going to nursery school here next year.
Every week, her kids see the grandparents. Naomi says it's not unusual, and that, coupled with being part of a majority culture, is a comfortable feeling.
That gives me a tremendous sense of comfort, a tremendous sense of belonging, really, that I can't get anywhere else. There's nowhere else on earth I can get that.
Now that story is from 1995, and moving to Israel seemed to agree with both Naomi and Mark because, of course, they're still there.
They are, really. And they followed their faith.
Absolutely.
And almost went home, back to their homeland.
They felt that they were coming home, and it was just a pleasure to meet with them, and as we said, see a side of Israel that people don't get to see, a very personal side.
Thank you, Larry. Meanwhile, for Catholics, Rome is ground zero.
Now, I made a stop there and visited two Wichitans who were living and studying at the Vatican.
For Catholics, Rome always calls. It's not the open-air markets or the history. It is instead a city that is the very soul of their religion.
Growing up Catholic, I've always felt connected to Rome.
Father Joe Guile and Father John Lansreth are in school in Rome at the Gregorian University doing graduate studies.
I think that that's a great opportunity for anyone who has the opportunity to travel, to see beyond just what is home and to see the world in which we live. It's all connected.
Both are graduates of Wichita's Catholic high schools, and the two young priests are longtime friends.
The East Coast guys give us a hard time about being from Kansas because they don't think that Kansas has anything to offer. So it's been very helpful to have somebody else for moral support if nothing else.
They're not in Kansas anymore.
Rome calls you to the inside. That New York doesn't call to her like Rome does.
Rome is a place to experience life and culture and to contemplate the future.
I think that there's an optimism, and almost like Christianity's on the verge of a rebirth. And I think that the moral leadership, the guidance that the Holy Father offers has inspired me personally.
Back in his quiet, small room, Father Giles has a framed picture of a moment he'll never forget.
And even though he'd met at least 3,000 people, he turned back, blessed me on my forehead, and that simple action right there just sort of changed my whole perception of the Holy Father.
The priests live near the Vatican in a 500-year-old building called the Casa Santa Maria.
Amen.
Every day at 1:30, they gather in a room that looks like a movie set for lunch.
Being with all these people here, there's such a common interest in deepening our faith.
The Kansas priests see a portion of their education on the streets as Italians express their unhappiness at low wages and unstable governments.
With these, it makes us appreciate, I think, a little bit regarding the stability of our own country.
Yeah, if we were in any other country, you might get a little alarmed, I think.
For two priests from Kansas, Rome is more than a feast for the eyes. It is food for the soul.
The world seems a much smaller place than before.
Now, both men returned to Wichita after their studies. Father Guile is now Dean of Graduate Studies at Newman University. Father Lansreth is the parish priest at St. John's Church in Viola. It was incredible following these guys around the Vatican because we were up close and personal. We saw the Pope, got the whole tour, but being inside the Vatican and watching what they have to go through in order to become a priest and be educated about it, and being there where the Pope is, it was really a special experience.
And no matter if you're Catholic or not, it's a spiritual experience.
It is. No matter who you are, it's a spiritual experience.
Okay, now we're going to go to Greece, where Larry met up with a group of Wichita pastors who were there shooting a movie.
Yeah, they were from Wichita, and they discovered it's not quite the same as shooting in the USA, but they also discovered that the beauty of the surroundings made it all worthwhile.
What'd you say? We'll do this twice. I'll have you walk through it and have Dave take a look at it.
Come over to Macedonia and help us.
Kansan Don Gollage has been traveling overseas doing television programs for 25 years.
That's better.
Don't fall in the water, though.
Stay on the path.
This time, he and photojournalist Dave Thornton are in Greece.
Okay, David.
Right.
Okay, good. Okay.
Finishing a program for 4 Wichita churches.
Like where these pillars are at.
Yes.
There was a temple there to
worship the emperor.
The emperor who would like Caesar, you mean? Or
yes.
Okay.
Surrounded by the ancient ruins of Philippi, this portion of the program deals with the journey of the Apostle Paul. And besides producing the program, Gollage is the problem solver.
Which is the receipt that you have paid.
Doing television overseas requires patience.
Oh boy.
Here it took nearly an hour and $500 American just to have authorities sign the proper papers, giving permission to shoot.
Mr. Gollage to initial all pages of text, sign affidavit, give to guard.
The bureaucracy is tiresome, the paper shuffling never ending. To tape in the Greek town of Corinth, required complete script checks.
I'll go and see a lady. Do you want to join me? City of Ancient Corn.
This woman is with the Antiquities Division of the Greek government. She must approve every word of the script.
Here you put here and there. You see? Here or there.
And it continued.
I don't know. I don't agree with that.
Is it heavy for you?
Oh, it is heavy for me.
It was heavy for everyone, but finally approval was given.
No, it's going great, I think. So if you wouldn't mind taking the group, then we'll go ahead and go over and start filming.
The shooting was almost the easy part. Wichita ministers Tom Macy, Lincoln Montgomery, Joe Wright, and Gene Williams are the talent in this production.
Have him walk to this point and then stop at this point because I'd like to get some of this in the background.
It takes days to get each nuance of the production shot.
Here, you ready, Tom?
For the ministers, there is the waiting, but that's offset by the beauty of the surroundings. For photojournalist Dave Thornton, the camera and the rest of the gear get heavier by the hour, but the chance to photograph the beauty of Greece is worth every backache. Despite the problems television crews face, it is perhaps one of the best jobs in the world.
It's a job, Larry, that I love a lot, and I don't think I feel sorry for everyone else that doesn't do this because it's incredible opportunities to do things that you love to do in places that you love to do them in. It's a wrap, Dave. Let's head home.
Now, the project proved to be a success, and that film that they were shooting aired on Cake TV the following Easter. But for them to be able to go over and actually film in the Holy Land, that was a very special time for each one of those pastors.
And you too, I remember you talking about it back then. You loved it.
It was special, it was educational, and of course none of us had ever been there before.
Yeah.
And so just having that experience really adds to the personal quality of your life.
Okay, thanks again, Larry. Okay, our travel log continues now with a visit to New Zealand.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite places. I made this trip in 1982 and came across an interesting cast of characters.
The beauty of New Zealand is captured not only in the varied landscape, but in the fabric and fiber of its people. For Americans, it's an emotional deja vu. A look at what our country may have been like 30 years ago. A bit of innocence with a touch of class describes New Zealand. The country is basically two islands about the size of Colorado. It's seldom on the forefront of world politics, and it's not on the beaten track for tourists, and that's part of its charm. But most important are its people. People like Sea Captain William Fairweather and First Mate Maggie Peters. Fairweather is the captain of a diesel-powered catamaran called the Tiger Lily II, a pleasure cruise ship located in the Bay of Islands in the north part of New Zealand. Heavy. A storm had moved in, but with typical New Zealand calm, Captain Fairweather said this part of the North Island was his favorite spot.
Especially up north here anyway, as I say, you know, it's a lovely place to live. It's not the same thing every day because the sea is always different.
And this day was no exception, from the storm to the calm and the beauty of the islands. Complementing the beauty of the islands is the kindness of the people. With Maggie Peters, First Mate on the Tiger Lily, the birds have found a friend.
This is the best part. Because you're with nature, I think. And I don't know, they seem to appreciate you very much. I think you become very conservationist when you're working out with the animals. You love the dolphins and the whales and the seals and the penguins and the birds. And, yeah, Long John Silver's my favourite. He got his leg bitten off by a fish, and it's mended well now.
The Bay of Islands and its people. It's more than a place. It is a state of mind. In New Zealand, this is Larry Hatteberg. The Tasman Sea pounds the shoreline on the west coast of New Zealand's South Island, just as it has for centuries. Nearby, Val Curry prospects for gold, just as his family has for centuries. Water drips down through ancient mine shafts. Leaves reflect lush vegetation. This is Val Curry's world. Remote, serene, and populated by a man with a strong sense of kinship. Kinship between himself and the land.
We know that this particular mine produced to 2 men in 14 an ounce a day. That's a lot of gold, but of course it was a lot of hard work to get it.
Curry's father, grandfather, and uncles all worked this mine, so gold fever is in his blood.
Oh, it is worth it, just so long as you're getting some of that yellow metal. Well, we like to say that there's as much gold left as what they took. That's a mighty statement because from this area, 4 million ounces was taken. That's approximately 150 ton of gold. New Zealand could do with 4 million ounces at the moment. The method is actually unique. There's nowhere else in the world where this type of mining was done.
And it's easy to see why there's not a lot of gold mining going on now.
What is left, of course, is mixed with uneconomically viable material. It's there, but you can't extract it economically.
When Val was younger, just out of school, he came here to try to get the old mine running again, but it didn't work.
I ran out of money, ran out of enthusiasm, drifted off to work all over New Zealand, ended up back here. I was actually born with gold fever. Of course, the enthusiasm wears off as the work replaces it.
Val Curry knows he'll never hit the mother lode. That's not his goal. What Curry is doing is preserving his heritage. Through this New Zealander's past lies his future. From New Zealand, this is Larry Hatteberg. More than 100 inches of rain fall every year on Clive Barker's property. That's why this grass is so green. Clive is a New Zealand farmer who uses water instead of dirt to raise his crops. Harnessing the flow of this nearby spring, Barker diverts enough fresh water to raise 200,000 salmon every year. He's the only person in New Zealand who can raise and sell fish in captivity.
Well, it's something that nobody else has done in New Zealand, and it's just something that I thought would be good for New Zealand and fish farming, especially salmon. It's a reasonably expensive fish to sell, so it's good for a New Zealand economy, I think. So I've just stayed in it. And I like the life here. That's the other thing, of course. They're 3 months old. They'll be weighing about 10 grams average.
Surrounded by mountains, Barker's farm is far away from anywhere by American standards, but apparently not far enough. Like his salmon, who swim upstream against incredible odds, Clive is also swimming upstream against a strong New Zealand political lobby group who want him out of business. The government has told Clive that he can no longer raise fish past 1985, despite the thousands of dollars already invested.
I think we have a lot of successes, but we just haven't sort of made it all click together yet.
The government's decision came about when a group representing New Zealand sports fishermen said that no one should commercialize the sports fish like the salmon, and the government was convinced. Well, Clive not only disagrees, but brushes off the 1985 deadline as just another minor problem to solve. And he says this year may be his most successful.
I've been saying that every year is always our big year, but I'm certain this year is our big year. You know?
The country is beautiful, but the work is hard. And even with political pressures, Barker says hard work tends to relax him.
Yeah, well, if it wasn't relaxing, I don't think we could carry on with all the political hassles. You go to work to relax.
Barker is one of those independent, rugged individuals, not unlike the farmers who populate America's Midwest. However, there is a difference. Americans tend to get uptight under the pressures of deadlines, but New Zealanders, like Clive Barker, now they tend to reflect on life a little differently. Their philosophy? Hey, mate, don't worry about it. There'll be another day tomorrow. In New Zealand, this is Larry Hatteberg. It's nearly impossible to look out across the New Zealand countryside without seeing sheep. 70 million of the woolly wonders populate the two islands. In fact, sheep outnumber people 20 to 1. Sheep provide a third of New Zealand's annual overseas income. New Zealand is the largest supplier of coarse wool to world markets and the third largest wool-growing nation. Wool clothes, many of them handmade, reflect the country's dependence on sheep.
New Zealanders are a sheep people. We are a sheep country, and we just love our sheep in New Zealand.
And that's why New Zealanders like Ivan Bowen are popular. As an international sheep shearing champion, Bowen has worked with sheep and sheep dogs most of his life.
Walk up, stand shoe. Walk up, shoe. Walk up, shoe. Here she comes. Stand shoe.
Using a series of complicated whistle commands, Bowen and his dog Shoe have no trouble keeping the sheep under control.
I feel very patriotic about this because I am introducing my country, my industry, to people across the world that come to New Zealand. Come in, Shoe.
Oh, you've got to be quick, haven't you? Catching a sheep is just like taking your best girl for a walk. You sneak up behind her, stick your arm around her neck, give her a little cuddle, stand her on her hind legs, take her for a walk. Come on, sweetheart.
Now, Bowen spends much of his time showing tourists the fine art of sheep shearing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to shear a sheep for you.
Okay, here we go.
His world record, which stood for 8 years, was shearing 457 sheep in 8 hours and 40 minutes.
Our sheep industry is so important. It's our major industry. We take more revenue off our lamb, wool, and mutton than any other industry we have in New Zealand, so it is very important to New Zealanders.
In just minutes, Bowen adds another notch to his shears.
Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is more right. There it is. There's our fleece.
We grow the best, we eat the best, and we like the best.
From Rotorua, New Zealand, this is Larry Hatteberg reporting. It's noon in the town square in Christchurch, a city of 300,000 on New Zealand's South Island. Christchurch is said to be the most English city in the Southern Hemisphere. Home of the Anglican Church, the square is a melting pot of humanity. Meet Ian Brackenbury Chanel, better known to New Zealanders as the Arch Wizard of Canterbury. Noontime will find him speaking at the square to anyone who will listen. This living tourist attraction is irreverent, candid, and most of all, weird. Here is the world according to the wizard.
Now, as British, it's not a religion, it's not a colour, it's not a sex, it is just a certain sense of humour, a stiff upper lip, and we always win wars so long as they pick on us first. Like Argentina. You've got to be cocky, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed if you're a male. And if you're a female, you've got to be treacherous, crafty, devious, and very worked up into a passion quite easily. And that's how it's supposed to be.
This woman is the wizard's nemesis, his arch foe, his sworn enemy. When he sets up shop, she's nearby, trying to work the same crowd.
And she is an evil woman. She is not British. This is the Bible, lady. She's a heretic. Don't trust her. This woman is a pest.
The wizard believes in two rather outdated notions, the supremacy of Britain and the supremacy of man.
Work is bad for men. Now, that woman there should be working somewhere for a man. Sweating and working. She'd have no time to nag. She'd be so tired. The world is not run by men. It's run by husbands who are in turn run by their wives.
The wizard is the Don Rickles of New Zealand. People here don't take him seriously, but pity the poor tourist who does, and then attempts to argue.
You're a bossy, stupid woman! And your eyes show signs of madness. Do not patronize men like me! I am your superior in every way.
As the wizard worked the audience, most people weren't even conscious of our camera until this point.
So be careful, be careful.
What are they doing there anyway? Yeah, what are they doing?
They are taking pictures of heretics in battle.
Where are they going?
They are going to Kansas, where they have wizards.
The wizard. Just be glad he doesn't live next door. From Christchurch, New Zealand, this is Larry Hatteberg.
A man off my own heart.
Incredible. And Larry was actually working with Television New Zealand.
That's right. It's called TVNZ if you work over there. And I was working with them because they love to expose the people of their land to the world. And so they were excited to have me there. And we did all these wonderful little stories with these incredible people. But if you ever get a chance to go to New Zealand, do it. It's one of the most beautiful countries in the world.
I think it says something that New Zealand got. Hey, Larry, can you come tell this story? We don't have anyone that tells stories like you do here in New Zealand.
Oh, they have great people over there. And it was just great fun. I had a great time.
Good. Well, that is a wrap for this week. A reminder, if you have a question or comment, email us at hattebergspeople@kpts.org. We'll see you next time.
The preceding program was brought to you by TZ Productions, offering 40 years of media experience.